Welcome back to Live Now from Fox, and good morning to you. If you're just now tuning in, I'm Jeane Franseen. We are following breaking news at this hour as it relates to the Israel-Hamas war. Learning Hamas says they've shared their latest plan with mediators about a potential ceasefire and a deal for the release of Israeli captives held in Gaza. Meanwhile, Israel says they are examining the offer and, quote, will convey their reply to the mediators. Joining us live this morning for this breaking news alert, national security expert with the University of New Haven, Ken Gray. Good morning to you. Thank you so much for joining us on this 4th of July holiday, Ken.
Good morning, Jeane. Happy 4th of July.
Happy 4th of July to you as well. So it seems like progress is being made as far as those ceasefire negotiations. However, we have seen in recent weeks and even months how when both sides come together and they actually put those plans on the table, if either side is not fully happy, it's a done deal. Can you catch us up, please?
Sure. So the framework that is being worked out is very similar to the framework that was being proposed a month ago. That is a ceasefire, an exchange of hostages for Palestinian prisoners, an increase in the amount of humanitarian aid getting into the Gaza Strip, and the removal of the IDF from the Gaza Strip. The problems are in the specific details. Hamas wants a total ceasefire from the beginning, and the Prime Minister Netanyahu wants a temporary ceasefire as they start to do this exchange and move towards a total ceasefire at a later point. That's a major stumbling block, and it's a stumbling block that may disrupt this deal. Hostage families, however, are threatening to put millions of protesters in the street of Israel should they not reach an agreement. So Prime Minister Netanyahu is under a lot of pressure to make a deal, but also a lot of pressure to keep Israel's interests at the topmost part of this negotiation, is that it is important for Israel to obtain what they want. In reality, you look at this, if the Hamas manages to get a ceasefire, a total ceasefire out of this, then in reality, you might say that Hamas has won because they attacked Israel, they brought hostages back in, and then they managed to withstand the attacks by IDF and weather through it and continue to exist. Overall, you might say that Hamas would have achieved its goals.
So glad you brought that up, Ken, because I was going to say, what is the likelihood this will even go through? Because despite, people holding on to hope and figuring that this is a sign of hope with these negotiations currently underway, we can't forget that just days ago, Israeli Defense Forces were ordering evacuations out in Khan Yunis for yet another invasion. So on that front, it does seem kind of counteractive that there is even a sign of the war scaling back.
Yeah, around Rafah, the Prime Minister had said that they are nearing the completion of that phase of the war, is clearing out Rafah. But if you look at the where fighting is occurring, there is more fighting occurring in Gaza City right now than there is anywhere else. And Gaza City was supposedly cleared back in December. And so this is far from being over as far as Hamas activity throughout the Gaza Strip. There's fighting in Gaza City. There is fighting down in Khan Yunis. There continues to be resistance in Rafah. There are the probability that Hamas will survive this is very high. And so, like I said, if you are keeping a scorecard, you would say that Hamas is the one that is coming out on top. And the number one point to that effect is the fact that Hamas continues to exist and continues to fight.
Ken Gray, always a pleasure having you join us bright and early here on Live Now for these breaking news alerts. Is there anything else you'd like to add? Anything myself and the viewers need to be keeping a close eye on?
So earlier in the week, I had mentioned the fact that a lot of buildings had been destroyed throughout Gaza Strip in the process of doing this war. Over 50% of the structures have either been damaged or destroyed. One viewer sent me an email and asked me why that would be, why destroy buildings like this. And I think the answer is twofold. One, the heavy use of aerial assets, that when you're using missiles and when you are dropping bombs, you're going to be be destroying buildings. And the other one is that as the IDF moves through these areas, if they receive fire, instead of going in and having to put IDF members at risk in clearing a building and finding Hamas members, instead they shoot weapons into the building to include explosives, and that damages buildings or may even destroy buildings. And therefore, the end result is that a large number of structures have been damaged and or destroyed. Estimates of 55 to 60% of all buildings and structures within the Gaza Strip have been either damaged or destroyed. So while the refugees that fled from the cities when the IDF forced them to flee to safe areas, they may not have a home to go back to when it's clear for them to go back.
Ken, great. Thank you so much for that perspective and your update as it relates to breaking news. Also, the infrastructure that is pretty much demolished out in that region because of that October 7th attack. You enjoy the rest of your day.
Thank you.